Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sledgehammers in the Office podcast, where we celebrate the heavy hitters on the job site and in the office. Today, we have an episode with the boys. We're going to get caught up on what's going on in everyone's company, and then we're going to finish discussing some company culture. But before we get to that, we're going to catch up with everybody. So if you're just here for the business stuff, fast forward 15, 20 minutes, and we'll get into it. But boys, what have we been up to?
Fighting sickness, like freaking all month, man. I'm sure I see that everyone's been dealing with that. I know it's been hitting hard, but it's fresh for me. In the last 5 days, it's been both the very pregnant wife and the 18-month-old the 18-month-old toddler have been very sick. So I've been in juggling mode. But no, that's been like a majority of the last few days. So I'm still a little doozy. If I say some funny things, that's just lack of sleep talking.
And I think the 18 month, I think that's the last month where you can use months when you describe how old
is
your
it?
child. Yeah.
You don't say someone's 72 months old?
Have you heard hey, he's 19 months or 20, 18.
Yeah, he goes up to 24.
Yeah.
He goes to 24.
I mean, you can really go, oh, he's 48 months. Oh, so he's 4 years old. Just say 4 years old.
Yeah.
It is confusing. I'd rather, because I'm really bad at years and birthdays in general. I will 100% be like, oh yeah, he's one. Oh yeah, he just turned 2, right? Yeah, he's 1 year old. Yep.
Yeah. Is it you? Were you being sick, or was it both of them?
No, I've been fine so far. But I was telling Thaddeus earlier. I was sleeping in the room with my toddler while he was sick, and we have a little bed that's on the ground, and so I was laying on that. He literally comes up to me in the middle of the night, crawls over me, looks deep into my soul, and then coughs directly into my open mouth.
Oh, jeez.
But that was 3 days ago, so I feel like I haven't really felt any symptoms yet. So maybe I'm in the clear. I've been making sure I get as much sunshine and vitamin C as I can.
Oh, I couldn't tell. Pretty white.
Yeah, well, when you're this white, you just kind of reflect the sun anyways. So tanning is not anything that I will actually get to enjoy. My wife and son, though, they get tan. So
yeah.
Nice. Mason, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I think the last time we spoke, I was day before surgery. So surgery went well. Recovering pretty good too. So I can squat all the way down now.
Can you dunk?
Oh, really?
Can I dunk? No, I haven't tried any jumping or anything. Yeah, going down. I can go down the stairs, up and down stairs, pain free. It was never painful. It was just when your knee's swollen, it's just restricted.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's recovering good. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then also, we did go to Disneyland 10 days after my surgery.
Nice.
You know what? That really wasn't that bad at all. The walking and stuff, it didn't really bother my leg at all. I mean, I iced it and stuff when we got back, so that was helpful. But what I didn't realize was that having to, because at that point in time, I couldn't bend my knee to 90 degrees. So getting in the rides, I did not anticipate. So I want to say every single ride, I had to shift my body, the lower body, just to get my legs in. I was surprised.
The old man turn.
Yeah, I'm surprised they let me do that, and because I brought my dad's cane with me too to help for walking.
Nice.
And that helped for one ride. I think they call it something the log ride, the drop ride.
Oh yeah.
Some guy saw me. He's like, "Can you go upstairs?" And I was like, "He's like, yeah, I can." I was like, "But no, I guess I can't really." And he's like, "All right, follow me." And we got to go straight to the front of the line.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah.
You should have milked that.
I know.
Got a wheelchair and everything.
And they do it different now. I looked into it. If you get wheelchair assistance, it's you wheel up to the guy at the front, and then he tells you when to come back. It's not
Gotcha.
you just go in the front of the line. Yeah. So
sure.
But yeah, Disneyland was fun. Kids loved it. I'm glad it was the last day because I haven't been on. Have you guys been to Disneyland?
I was super young the last time I was there.
Yeah, last time I was there, they have the elevator drop.
Oh yeah.
They used to call it Tower of Terror,
Mhm.
And it used to be like drop, kind of big, and then one final big one. So I was like, oh, it's not that bad, guys, or whatever. My wife hates rides like that. Well,
Mhm.
now it's the Guardian of the Galaxy. And now there's about 9 drops in it.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, my oldest and my wife were crying during the
Nice.
thing. And then my youngest one, I sat next to him, and he was like, he yelled for my wife's name the whole time.
Oh,
They were traumatized. Yeah. I'm glad that wasn't like the first ride we went on, because that would have sucked.
That's hilarious.
oh, that's so great.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one. Yeah. I think their favorite ride was the new Star Wars one. It was
Heck
pretty
yeah.
cool. You guys watch Star Wars?
Yeah.
What's that? You
Not
have
the
to.
new
You're a nerd.
episodes.
Alex, have you seen any of the new ones?
I've seen the new movies. I haven't seen the new shows very much. Is it like Mando or something?
No, it's very like standard Darth Vader stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, so that was cool. What else did I put on there? Oh yeah, yeah. If you guys know anything about peptides?
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard a thing or two. Seen the
Yeah,
South Park episode.
yeah. I started after my surgery. I got some to use some on my knee to help for recovery.
Hmm.
It's been going well. I don't really know if it's how well it's working, but
Yeah.
so tune in if I like grow like a third head or something.
If you do, I'm sure we'll report it here first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Thaddeus? What did you do?
I've been sick for like the last month, and the last couple of days I've been feeling like, well, today it felt like I'm finally like actually clearing everything up, but
Nice.
it hasn't been bad enough to go to the doctor's office, but it's been annoying to where breathing and my sinuses are all messed up. And then on top of things being very busy, it just has been like, yeah, we're not resting. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that played right into not recovering. But ended up going to Vegas. What was that? The 31st or 30th, I don't even know. It was Friday, and then we got back today. So we had our High Rocks competition, which is the running and other workout thing. It was like a 3-day event at the Vegas Convention Center.
Oh, that's cool.
They had 10,000 people participate in the whole thing. So it was slammed. There were a couple days where we were just watching some of the other people race, and it was Saturday that we were there for a majority of the day. And by the end, everyone in our group was ready to just leave because all the music was just, it's high paced. They're trying to keep everyone energized, but once you've been there for hours, you want to just get away from all of that. So, but had a good time. Went to like a steakhouse last night, and then did a little bit of gambling, and yeah, just had fun. So,
Did you win?
Nice.
first night I was up, and then by the end now,
What'd you play?
blackjack mostly. No, I think it was all blackjack. So
That's always fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
Heck yeah.
And then my friend was showing me this game, and it's I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's Pai Gow or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Have you guys played that?
I have not played it. I've heard of it
long
though.
time ago.
Okay. It's based off of poker. It's almost like if poker and blackjack had a baby. Where
Interesting.
dealer gets 7 cards, every player at the table gets 7 cards, and you're gonna make 2 poker hands. One of them is gonna have 2 cards, one of them is gonna have 5 cards. The 5-card hand needs to be able to beat your 2-card hand. And the goal is you need both your hands to beat the dealers, and then you win. If only one of them beats them, it's a push, and if you lose both, then the house wins. So it was interesting watching that game, and we had a friend who was playing it, so trying to like figure it out, fit in the strategy, all that good stuff. So yeah, it was a good time.
I've heard Baccarat is like the game to play if you're going gambling because it's the closest like 50-50 odds. But I've
really?
never anything like that. It's kind of it's you get to choose if you're the dealer or the player, and I don't know. It's such a good game that even if you win as you have to pay like a 5% tax towards the casino because people win that often. It's like literal 50-50
Oh, wow.
odds. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Next time when I'm in Vegas, because I go to Vegas all the time, I will definitely try that.
Yeah. Have
You
you
gotta
guys
try
seen the
crack.
Sphere?
Yeah, I've seen the outside of it. I haven't been on
Yeah.
the inside.
Same, but seeing it on TV, you're like, all right, that's really cool. It's crazy
It's
that
so
they built the
different.
structure like that. Oh, in person, it's nuts.
Oh yeah.
I was looking at that thing going, okay, we're gonna have to come back and check that thing out. So
Oh yeah. I've seen some like concerts from the inside, and they've got like the entire thing, and it looks so cool.
Yeah.
I've heard like movies and stuff in there are like amazing too, but I think tickets start at like $140. Yeah. But I mean that's Vegas in general. Stuff's expensive, but you
Yeah.
know the shows are at least pretty good and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Are we good?
no, I'm good.
All right. That was quick. Apparently, we were really for January.
Dude, it was literally such a heads down month for us, at least for me.
Yeah, I was sick too, but only for like a couple of days. I didn't have it like some of you guys.
Yeah.
No. All right. Well, before we get to the business stuff, we have our monthly Shamrock Farms plug. So, all right, guys. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And if you're like me, you struggle to find a gift for your significant other. Roses, jewelry, dinner are also routine and boring. So this year, win Valentine's Day by getting them some delicious Shamrock Farms chocolate milk. And while you're at it, tag us in that moment that you record for Instagram. And then Mason will definitely repost all of them on his Instagram, and we'll see if we can get one or two from Shamrock Farms. They're actually seriously very posting if you tag them.
Are you really?
Oh yeah. They'll respond to stuff too. Like the commercial we had, they responded and multiple times. Like I did a post where I tagged them when our son was born and he was holding like a Shamrock Farms bottle. They responded to it like in a message. It's funny. So in all
That's really funny.
seriousness, get your significant other some Shamrock Farms and tag them in that. Be hilarious.
That's funny.
Cool. All right. Let's jump in with what's going on in the construction industry with some of our numbers that we track. We've got 2x4s at $375, plywood $17.78, copper at $28.67. 2x4s are same. Plywood is in the mid range for what we track, between $12 and essentially $25 a sheet. Copper is floating around between 27 and 29. So everything's staying relatively stable. In terms of the gross numbers that we took in for January, it was $19,480.62, which I think came out in our spreadsheet to $19,481. I'd have to check on if there's actually a net. Actually, I don't think there really is right now, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. But when we're looking at action steps from last month, I was trying to figure out how to get all the tax stuff taken care of. Sorry about that. For 1099s. Man, I've got this tickle in my throat. It's going to bother me here. Anyways, I got advice from a friend with where to go deal with that, because you don't have to get some official 1099s printed off. There's actually online services now, which is fantastic. And they'll file it directly for you to the IRS, and it's very cheap per 1099 that you do. So that was a huge ball of stress just off my plate. We got that done. Emailed my realtor list a cost breakdown of our recent shower remodel, because I wanted to see. I tried to keep it really short for the email, trying not to try some floofy thing, but wanted to put actual numbers. I broke it out just like an estimate, line item by line item, to show them, hey, here's what it costs, because so many people say they don't know what construction costs are these days. So it was a way of saying, hey, here's what it actually costs, and trying to see if anyone kind of responds to that. So I forgot that I was going to try and pull up the metrics for this one, but let's see. I'll deal with that later. I don't want to distract from this. So, but got all that done. For next month, I'm going to probably focus. We're going to kind of circle back around to what we did last year and call 25 builders or designers to see if I can actually meet with someone in person, rather than just trying to be like, hey, here's who I am, and try and make that personal touch and see if we can actually build more of a relationship rather than just, hey, I'm some guy on the phone. So something that I started working on in December was setting up a new payment processor, because I've been billing everything through QuickBooks, and they've got a 1% processing fee on ACH transfers. And I had a friend who was telling me that they've got a payment processor that if you do an ACH transfer, you don't have any fees. So I was like, that sounds like a nice way to put more money into my pocket pretty quickly. Got that all set up, and then had someone pay for the first time through that this weekend, and got an email on the way home today or yesterday that, no, I was way home today, that there was an error with the payment and payments were being returned to the original person. So that's making me wonder where I would have said, hey, net numbers are actually going to be higher this coming month, or they should have been, because there's a nice check coming, but we are going to get that figured out, and we might be going back to QuickBooks unless we're figuring out that this was something on the client side. So the part that I am excited about is that if it is an error with the payment processor that I did try and set up, then I can just go straight back to QuickBooks, and it's not a problem. QuickBooks does a great job with it. It's very clear for the client side, my side, so all that good stuff. But yeah, and then I've got some stuff on the company thoughts later. But Alex, what's been going on with you this month?
So I've been kind of working in parallel on a few things. So first thing is I've been building a property tax solution. So I think I've mentioned it briefly last time, talking about why I went that route and why I'm starting to build that out. And another person that I talked to kind of spoke about that has honestly been really good advice is, hey, keep talking to people in the industry, and go along the lines of, hey, can I pick your brain about things? Because that is just a good way to build that network, that when you do have something, I even had another guy say, hey, do a newsletter for everyone you talk to and say, hey, by the way, do you want to stay updated on this as I continue to build it, like a quarterly thing where you just say, hey, this goes to everyone who's interested in staying in touch about what this stuff's going on. I've been learning a ton as I've been building it out. So I've gotten a pretty rudimentary thing working out on a website, learned a lot about server hosting and version control and programming thanks to ChatGPT. And I've actually got it working now for 2 counties. So I got it working for Maricopa County and for Cook County, which is Chicago. So basically what it does is you put in your address, and it'll pick up anything that's in those, it'll figure out which county it's supposed to go to, route to that county, pull the valuation and tax information for your property, whether it doesn't matter if it's residential, if it's land, or whatever. So you guys could actually enter your houses. I actually called Mason because a guy had an idea to see if real estate agents would be interested. I had Mason test it out, and it actually worked out for a couple of properties that he was looking at. So just been building that out, and then trying to grow the network around the property tax stuff, because I really don't have too many ins there. So I'm just trying to kind of build that out. And then I actually had an old mentor of mine reach out and say, hey, my daughter is head of accounting, and she has 8 companies that she looks over, and she's trying to do everything. He's like, I will pay you out of my own pocket to help automate some of her stuff with, if you think it's a good fit. So It's still down the line, but that was cool to see an old contact bring that up. And then I did some free work for Christian charity organization out here in December. Did some just like basic analytics stuff for them, and they actually referred me to another church in the valley that could use my services. So I'm waiting to connect with a pastor there, but we'll see what happens. I didn't really expect things to go that route, if I'm completely honest, and I even told the charity that I was working with, I was like, I genuinely I feel weird about like charging money to a church. He's like, look, your rate is like this is what you would charge. That's totally fine. I promise they will need these services. So I was like, okay. So that was, it was interesting to see how things have been kind of going in that way. So that's a majority of what I'm working on right now. I've still got a project plan to build out the minimum viable product for this property tax software, and still continuing to talk to people about it as I build.
Did you send that you mentioned earlier email already?
No, not yet. No. Right now there's like maybe like 5 or 6 people on the list. I'm gonna wait until end of March, because that's by end of March I should technically have like a true MVP that people can go in and actually look at. And I'm still really early in right now, and the more conversations I have with people in and out of the industry, the more I realize I'd rather have a little bit more of a complete picture before I send updates to people and say like, hey, I know we talked about it, but I have this website that has 2 inputs, two search bars in here, like woo, versus like a more complete picture of an actual product.
So what are things looking like right now, at least in your mind, with this and then control? Is it kind of developing this out as a tool and then seeing kind of what happens on the control side, or how are you splitting that?
So I'm not doing any outreach for control right now. Now I'm honestly just maintaining. So I did about 4 hours of client work for an existing client for control this month. And then I have those 2 other leads that have just kind of come in. A majority of my outreach right now has been to people in the property tax space saying, hey, can I just pick your brain about property tax? And so that's honestly been 100% of my focus 100% of my marketing and outreach focus while I've been building this. I really feel like doors are opening for the property tax thing. I would kind of put it under the umbrella of control, but I'm not saying no to anything specific right now because I still have enough time to handle all of these things. It's not like if I'm saying no to one thing, or if I'm not saying no to one thing right now, I'm missing out on the opportunity cost of the other stuff. I'm also talking to a couple people on Fiverr to help move development along, just to make sure, now that I've kind of proved that the concept can work, there are definitely much more talented individuals that can kind of build out or at least scale things a lot quicker than I can, versus like me, hammering back and forth with ChatGPT over a few days. Not that I can't do it, especially with the tools available. It's just those people can build it a lot faster. And I'm also
is Fiverr like VAs?
It can be, but there's people who are have a lot of experience building scrapers, people who have experience building SaaS platforms, all that kind of stuff. So for the type of programming that I haven't really done, including what this property tax tool is, there's just a lot more people who have been doing it a lot longer and probably have a lot of best practices that I'm missing out on. And
so more like independent contractors that you can contact based on their specific field.
Exactly. And I'm hoping to use this as like a test run to, if I find a couple reliable ones, then I'm like, oh dude, I want to absolutely partner with these guys in the future.
Gotcha.
Yep.
What does prospecting them look like right now, as far as when you're looking at what potential price points are? What's your qualification for people that you're gonna look at?
So honestly, I'm just kind of explaining what the project is. I ended up for the guy that I'm thinking of working with right now. I just started by talking to a lot of people, but then as I was building it out, I realized I didn't have a very good list of everything. I had it all in my head and I had written it down, but I didn't have a good like living document to say, hey, this is what it is, this is what it looks like, here's test cases. So I went to Notion. I don't know if you guys have ever played with Notion before. Built a Notion notebook with a couple links and saying like, hey, here's the tech stack, this is exactly all the technologies I'm using, here's courtesy of ChatGPT, I actually set everything up in GitHub. So that is just like versioning. So every time I update the code, I can roll back to an old version, which has saved my butt a few times already now. And then, so I have them look at the code and then I explain all the things I'm trying to do. I'm like, all right, is this possible? And so I had a couple of people right off the bat like, yeah, no, I don't even want to touch that. Like, that's going to be a rat's nest. And then I've had a few people who have been eager, but we'll see if that's actually going to be. And I mean, some of these guys are like $150 to do this stuff that I need to do, which is stupidly cheap.
Dang.
Yeah. So
That's
we'll
crazy.
see. It's honestly, I'm not going to know until I get a little bit further down the tunnel, and I'll definitely keep you guys posted.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. I think I've run on for long enough there.
All right, Mason, I see you've got some stuff on there. What's been going on with you?
Yeah. We'll just start with get the numbers out of the way. So we've got a little over 17,000 homes available now, which is up 2,000 from last month. Over 1,000 homes a week are still closing. That's up. Interest rates pretty much the same, down 0.05%. But yeah, in a nutshell, happens every year. This is the time of year where more buyers come out and stuff. So regardless of all the horror stories you see, people still need to buy and sell homes, and they're still doing it. So, which is cool, but we're probably going for a couple months, probably 2-3 months, probably going to be in a little buyer's market too. So just keep that in mind. Numbers. So not another actually, it's a goose egg for January. But I've been pretty busy, which is good. I've got 4 in escrow. 3 of them are supposed to close this month, which will be good. And then I'm working with 4 active buyers. I got 3 listings coming up, so I'm staying busy, which is good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Which is also an excuse for why I didn't get my YouTube video up. Well, one of the biggest reasons was I told you guys earlier, I definitely underestimated how long it takes to edit a video, especially one that's going to be like 11, 12 minutes. Because the way I recorded it, there's a lot of cuts in it. So might be looking to hire somebody to do that for me. But yeah, so I didn't get the video posted, but I did get both the footage. I got all the footage for the next 2 videos all taken care of. And then I'm still doing my daily time block lead follow-up, which takes now it's probably taking me 25 minutes a day to do it, which is good just because I've been consistent with it. But I put in here kind of my main goals this year is to create my own set of leads, like outside of my sphere, like people I don't know. So I'm trying to reach towards that also while still servicing my current sphere. So, people who have bought, past clients, just staying top of mind kind of thing and giving them anything that they need. And then see if I can't meet some new people. And I'm going to start with YouTube and see how that goes. So, but I feel like once I can edit this first video, because they're pretty much the same, it's going to be the same kind of thing. So once I figure out this first video, I think that editing the videos to come will be a lot faster.
Well, something I recommend as someone who's done a few YouTube videos, and I'm sure Thaddeus can chime in here. He's probably put in the most editing out of all of us, but try to take notes and track like how long, first of all, it takes you to do the first one, where you're cutting, and like what you're trying to remove or edit in the videos. And then if that starts altering how you're recording the future videos. And then a lot of it is practice, especially if you're like talking on camera and stuff. I don't know about you, but I would stutter all the time.
Oh yeah.
I would just like jumble my words, and I'd have like a single sentence that I'd have to do like 17 takes on because I just cannot freaking get the sentence out. So you definitely get better on screen and all that kind of stuff, but like seriously, try to review the process every time and say, all right, what can I do better? What can I do better? And then you'll be thinking about it when you're recording the next.
Yeah, I've actually already taken a couple notes on how I'm going to record it the next time. Unfortunately, I have already recorded 2 separate videos, so I'll have to use that for the third one. But yeah, and the other thing too is that I didn't have too much trouble with talking. There's not too much talking in front of the screen because I did a lot of videos where I'm doing more like voiceovers.
Okay,
that have to be because it's a little easier instead of having to have somebody come videotape me and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I've been definitely trying to because I was like this. I can't do this all the time. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything special. Like just like serving my sphere, which is, I think I've been doing that for the past 6 months, and I think that's why I'm starting to pick up and get busy too. So,
yeah,
trying to keep that ball rolling.
Yeah, keep up the momentum, dude.
With the creating your own leads, is there an aspect of that is outside of your sphere, or are you really trying to just say, hey, we're just doubling down on the sphere? Yeah,
kind of more, I would say being more intentional, because you were on the team. We do a lot of stuff for the sphere, but like essentially like doing a little bit more and just being more intentional with it instead of half-assing it, essentially.
Like
definitely
what?
like actual just making phone calls to your top sphere clients and actually getting them on the phone instead of shooting a text or an email. I started sending out the newsletters. Although I don't really send that to my sphere, actually. I kind of just send that to more like low rent, like leads or low rent spheres, because what I don't want them to do is unsubscribe from it, and then all of a sudden I try to send an important email, and then boom. So it's kind of just staying more, staying more active with staying in front of them, whether it's every couple of months if I communicate versus email with them more, because there's some clients where you email more, you text, you phone call. I mean, I sold a home where I was only through text message. The only time I spoke to him was when we viewed the home, at the inspection, and the final walkthrough. Everything else was just all, so everybody likes to communicate, so I just been kind of taking notes that way and just saying what's up without being too awkward and salesy.
Yeah.
So
is it, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of fluff in the space, but have you ever considered looking at like a lead agency or anything like that? Or
what is that?
Like someone who goes and gets the leads for you and either does like
he's talking about like
based?
It would be like Opcity or Zillow or the Rise. Or
yeah,
Rise,
well, that's one of the benefits of being on a team, is that we kind of already have that in place, so I don't really have to purchase that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I mean, it's on my. I do have quite a few different avenues that I would go, but right now I'm going the free version.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and plus there's a couple guys on the team who started YouTube, and I mean, I would like to say my videos are going to be a lot better and more informative, but like
but you're not releasing them.
Yeah.
We'll find out, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out. I just feel like just doing research. I was like, I feel like I can do a little bit better job without doing too much. And they're getting a lot of good quality leads, because I mean, Arizona's a move to state.
Yeah, that helps.
So that's kind of why I'm starting off with more of like 55 plus communities or like new build homes and stuff like that. And kind of just, I'm going to start there and see where it takes me to.
Yeah.
And plus, I offer like a free item of value. So like 55 plus retirement community guide with all of them in the valley kind of thing. Have them reach out to me and I'll send it to them kind of thing.
Nice.
So start with free, and then definitely kind of see if it goes that direction too. Because a lot of those companies too now, you don't necessarily have to pay for them. You kind of just have to pay a referral fee.
Gotcha.
So
okay. Cool, man.
What's going on with the new website?
I've had it for a while. Yeah.
Just first time it's popped up in the notes, so
I just
popped it open.
I just realized that I was like, oh, why don't I just shoot people over to my email address or my website, because it's got the MLS embedded in it. So like if you want to search for homes and stuff, you can go on there. Yeah, I'm on a podcast. Steve. I'm on a podcast. I'm recording one. So you're on it right now. He's like, what? Oh shit. What was I saying? Oh yeah, where you can, it's got so you got full access to the MLS where you can create your own searches and do that kind of stuff. Mortgage calculators, kind of, all the generic stuff, that most, actually surprisingly not a lot of real estate teams have all that stuff on the website. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Are you looking at it?
Yeah, I checked it out earlier, and then I clicked into it again.
Yeah, nothing crazy, just simple. So still messing around with it because I have a third party that is doing it. So, but I can add on to it and different things. So
sweet,
nice.
Yeah,
looks good. It looks super clean. So
yeah. So yeah. Other than that, that's what I'm doing.
Cool. Just wanted to revisit something real quick. On that email blast that I did, I had a 52% open rate. And they said that that's about pretty par with people that are in my shoes. So we'll keep doing that, see what happens. And then I'm going to try and probably, my idea would be is to grow it and have one vendor, not necessarily vendor, professional email list. So people who are either in an affiliated industry that I'm trying to just say, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's kind of what's going on in the background so they can see it. And then probably have one more that's like prospect facing. But yeah, I just want to track them, see what it is, see what it looks like going from there. So
yeah, I mean, because as I get a lot of emails from random people, like I sent you that one construction company that reached out. They probably did to everybody, but like cleaning services, roof, anybody who does anything in the industry who reaches out, I always save that email and I have a separate file folder that says real estate industry companies. So I know I have a folder where if it's like I'm trying to I don't know this such and such guy, I'll go through the folder and call one of them. So I think it'll be beneficial in the long term too, not just short term. So
that's what I'm hoping. And my big theory on it is if you're doing an email newsletter or if you're doing like a downloadable PDF for someone where they're filling information, that you need to have something legit on the other side. Because I think Alex and I were talking about that so often that people will create those and it's a way to collect a lot of information, but people become jaded to it after a while. Yes, because it's just spam. It's just filler. It's just, hey, I'm still here. I have a pulse and that's it, rather than actually delivering something. So my goal, especially for the vendors, like with the transparency of, hey, here's what the estimate looks like. Here's what the line items are, is to show like it. We're not holding anything back. And here's an actual construction company that you could go and show your client, here's what they charge line item by line item. And then it's essentially, I'm going to probably, then the next one's going to be a kitchen because it's easy. I've got them. So it's like, but it starts to just create that reality where it's like, who else is going to tell you line item by line item what it costs and what a kitchen costs? Because so often, even my answer for people is, hey, how much is a kitchen? It's like, well, it depends. What are we doing? So but in this case, I get to define what the scope is because it's based off of what we had previously done and just explain it. The nice part is I have pictures of all the stuff that we've done. So it's a nice way to kind of just loop it all back in.
So do you have two different newsletters right now, or is it just one right now?
Right now, it's just the one because I just have it. I took the emails from the realtors that I was reaching out to that said I could reach out to them. And that's who I'd been reaching out to.
Gotcha.
So that's who's on that list. So I'm going to create a second one and that'll have more of the prospects going forward or if it's a repeat customer or if it's a previous customer, then start filling that in, and that would be a different tract. So my thought would be is possibly have 3 different email lists and hit them quarterly. But I haven't really fleshed that idea out.
For the real estate one, how many people do you have on it right now?
I think it's 83.
83 with 50.
We're down a little bit from what it originally was but now with the unsubscribes, we're at 83.
Cool. All right. Well, still 52% open rate is very good for newsletters.
Yeah. So I'm happy with it, and we'll just see if we can keep it going. So
heck yeah, sweet man.
So Mason, did you find a way to tee me up yet?
No, I forgot. I'm gonna be honest with you. How am I supposed to tee you up?
I don't know. I thought you were gonna come up with something. You could just be like, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for company thoughts.
Oh yeah. I'll have something for next month.
Just like you'll have a YouTube video posted next month.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna steal it and hit present now and have a whole video for you.
Do it.
Hey, if our next podcast starts with just your YouTube video playing, I will let that happen.
Hey, Mason, why don't you surprise everyone and release 2 YouTube videos for the next time we talk?
Honestly, that's the goal.
Then do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it. I don't have an excuse.
Yeah, you got a busted knee. You got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just kidding you right now.
All right, let's do our company thoughts for the evening. Wanted to talk a little bit about culture and building culture, and especially as I've observed it from previous companies, and then taking it into looking forward with bringing employees on, how I want to start setting about it, because so many people want to talk about this word culture, and it's important because apparently everyone uses it, and the successful companies have it and the unsuccessful companies don't. But I think the first thing is just getting on the same page with what it is. It's not an emotion. It's not a free lunch once a month, the stereotypical, they gave us pizza instead of our raises, or even a weekly meeting. It's really, culture is the behaviors that are repeated, encouraged, and done often. So if I were to really just try and condense that down, is culture is repeated action. So when we start to look at that, though, inside of a company, there's explicit and implicit culture that can start to get created. So the explicit culture is going to be referred to consistently or displayed consistently to the team. And by displayed, I mean like it's written. So it's, when I was on the real estate team with Mason, there was the team saying up on the wall, there were different things in different places. There's stuff we had to memorize. Like that is the explicit stuff for the culture that we were trying to set in there. Now, on the implicit side, that's going to be the collection of the repeated actions that people are doing that they don't advertise. So if we have someone who, like your company, they had a shop, if all the guys are cleaning up the shop every Friday and they're not going around being like, we clean up the shop every Friday to the entire company, or we're a culture of cleanliness and order, but they just do it, that starts to be an indication that you have an implied culture of order, cleanliness, excellence, whatever the term is that you want to have with it. But the goal at the end of the day really comes down to, you want to have those two things overlap, because we've seen when it goes bad that you've got people saying, hey, this is what our culture is. And then on this hand, the whole group is doing something else. So you want to make sure that the explicit culture aren't just a random occurrence, and that you can actually build it. So we want that overlap there. So now we can start to kind of talk about building that culture. And to say that we want to build a culture, it really means that if we have repeated actions, we're trying to direct those repeated actions according to a certain set of values. So if a company wants a culture of excellence, what we want, that company wants their employees to be doing. Sorry, I lost my place. A culture. If they want a culture of excellence, what they're saying is they want a set of behaviors that are repeated, encouraged, and that they can expect to continue to happen that are all excellent. So it's a matter of then communicating that to the team. We're going to be explaining, hey, here's what these behaviors look like that are in line with this value, and encouraging that when you see it happen amongst the team. So one of the things that we're going to do, or that I want to do real quickly, is almost kind of jump into the inverse side of it, of what does it look like when it's not done well, or some of the mistakes that can get made. And the first one is going to be, it's ridiculous, but this happens, is the silent culture problem. Is you have people where they'll sit down, they'll go away for a weekend, they might have some retreat or a fake retreat, maybe it's just a weekend getaway, and they take their notebook with them, they write stuff out, this is what our culture is going to be, and then they bring it back, they tell the team, tell the company, they tell someone when they onboard them, and then they never mention it again. It's the silent culture problem. We're not changing the language. There's nothing that changes. So how is it that we are doing things and building our actions and behaviors according to this value in a certain direction? So it's dumb, but it happens. I've seen something very similar. It's hilarious. The next one is going to be called the one-word problem. And this is where people have a list of like 5 core values on their website or hanging up on a poster in the break room, and never explain what it means. So you get 15 companies in a row that have the same exact values, and you get the entire spectrum of you guys are complete trash to you guys are excellent performers. And it's really because they don't have the same understanding of what those core values mean. And so one of the things that I've really thought of with this is, if you're going to do these one-word culture values, and I think it's absolutely great to have one-word culture values, but is you need to explain what they are and what they look like, particularly when things are least likely for them to happen. So it's, if someone's trying to talk about integrity and it's like, hey guys, we're like, if you're on a project and you accidentally cut something that, like, hey, we could like, it's not a big deal, like, whatever, we can just move on. It's like, that's not integrity. So the integrity thing is like, no, we need to fix that. Like, we're not walking away from it, because there are other companies where it's like, just hide it, cover it up, not our problem, next guy's problem, whatever it is. It's like, that's a company that doesn't have integrity. For other people, it's like, we have integrity because we show up on time. Said we show up. It's like, that's not what I'm going after. And so me clearly communicating to the team, when you don't, like, you're going to do something and you're not going to want to be the person of integrity, and I'm telling you what that looks like, so follow through with it. So it's the one-word things are, don't just say we have integrity, we're fun, we have excellence, whatever it is. It's like, you need to really define what that is. And I would say define it against where the problem scenario is going to. You really want them to express that attribute. The next one is what I call the C-suite problem. This is where leadership in a company, it's not always a C-suite, because like this happens in small companies, is they'll have some kind of manager, they'll have some kind of leaders that understand the culture or are doing some kind of leadership training or whatever it is. And so they're trying to set a culture, and they'll discuss culture and they'll talk about culture, but they never share it explicitly with the team. And there's no like trickle down effect. There's no like, hey guys, we're getting together to talk about culture, galvanize it here, and then take this to the rest of the company and the rest of the divisions. And this really quickly will make it where the team starts to resent the leadership that they're working with, because it starts to create this, we get together, we talk about all these things, and we're separate, right? There's 2 classes of people at that point that you're dealing with. And it gets really bad if the team starts to understand what you guys are talking about, and if you're not expressing it, then it's like, you know, that, or the team can start to think that the leadership is just messing around and wasting time. And that, once again, builds the resentment. So the next one is going to be the for you problem. And this is kind of a variation of the previous one, but it's where someone who's in a leadership role is going to expect things out of the team that they're not going to do themselves. Where it's, hey, I need you to go do this, and I need you to do it in XYZ way. It needs to be orderly, it needs to be clean, it needs to be all these things. But it's like, if they don't have that same standard for themselves in whatever their role looks like, it becomes a problem, because the leader's behavior and actions don't mirror what they're saying. So why is the person who's supposed to be reporting to that person going to do that? The second thing with that is, where is it? I keep getting lost. There are some times where a leader might be actually doing the actions that they're telling their team to do, but if the team doesn't see it, the team's going to start to question what the leader's doing. So there are times where you need to team, not tell the team. Don't go tell the team, I'm doing these things, I'm in line with our culture, but show them. If it's, hey, we want a culture of hard workers here, it's like, don't be remote and working from home all the time. Be in front of everyone. Be the guy who's there earlier than everyone, later than everyone. It's working all the hours. Like when I was at the window and door company, like the owners weren't in the field, but no one ever gave them crap about how hard we worked, because everyone knew the amount of hours they were putting in, the amount of like stress that they had, and that they were doing their absolute best every day for the team. So they didn't have to be doing the exact same thing, but they were in the arena and everyone could see it all the time. The next one is going to be the exception problem. And this one, everyone knows, this is like the favoritism problem, where if we're saying there's a standard, if there's stuff that says important, but there's a member of the group or a section of the team that's getting a pass on it, the rest of the team starts to look at it as, this isn't important. It's just almost like a punishment for my day, that I've just got to check this box because you said so. But Tommy over there doesn't, just because he's buddy with you and he's a nice guy and he can make those jokes. And it's like, at the end of the day, you've earned the value and any potential chance of building that into the team that you're hoping. So we've got two more. So next one is going to be the check the box program. This is where routines are going to be set up, or certain things are going to be put in place. But if it's really not living up to what it's supposed to, it's gonna almost backfire. And an example of this is when companies will have it set up where you can have an automated email sent out at the end of the week to check in with your team, right? And say, hey, like, how's everyone doing? What's the high of the week, the low of the week? How are you doing personally? And if the team starts filling it out the exact same every single time, and the person who's supposed to be checking these things isn't following up on any of the small variation inside of that, or even telling them like, hey, I actually want to be invested, but instead of taking hours out of my day to try and go have 15 conversations, it's like, help me out and just do it this way. At a certain point, people start to think that like it's not real. Like they don't really care. They're doing the thing just to check the box. So it's almost more insulting to do it halfway than to not do it at all. So that's where it starts to really undermine it. And that's just an example. But as far as it's like, if it were to be a safety thing where it's, hey, we want to be a company that has a culture of safety. And it's like, we got you guys hard hats. But it's like, yeah, but you guys are putting us in situations consistently that don't match that. But if you're continually campaigning on, we're paying safety because we gave you this small thing, it's like, that's going to undermine it, and it's going to turn around and bite you worse along the way. This last one is, I think, one of the bigger ones, and I probably should have put it earlier because it's a bigger one. But anyways, if you're never celebrating when someone is upholding the value that you want, when they're taking action on that value, they're not going to do it. If they are taking the effort to go out of their way to do that thing, they're not being recognized for it. No one else is getting punished for not doing the thing. Pretty soon, they're going to do it because there is no point for them to put in that time, effort, and energy. So it's, at the end of the day, make sure that you see it, address it right away. Hey, great job. Tie it back. Or if it's in a weekly meeting, hey, I saw John last week when at the end of the day, things were a mess in the shop. He stayed an extra however long to clean it all up. That's what we like. That, and then anchor it back to that value that you want, or that that word that you're trying to put on that culture, as far as if it's order, if it's excellence, whatever it is, but demonstrate it. And that goes back to, like we said, with our other one, that if we're not defining it clearly in that moment, you're defining the whole thing for the team. So to kind of put a bow on this, it's, if we're looking to build a culture, we need to identify the actions that are consistent with the values we want to express, repeat them, encourage them, do them often, which is essentially the definition that we have for culture. It's for the entire team, all the time, in an appropriate measure. And that's culture. Boys?
Nice. No, I really liked it. I agreed with a lot of the points. So I think my question for you is, like, say you hire someone tomorrow, right? Because right now you're doing a lot of this stuff by yourself. You're reflecting a lot of that between, you're trying to reflect a lot of that through the vendors that you use, through the people that you talk to. So day one, you hire, your first person. What are you doing? Like, what does that day one look like for your company to make sure that they have that culture?
Yeah, and for that, I had an employee handbook that I had made up, and part of it even started with, hey, here's the core values that we're going to be about, and then explaining it out to say, here's a little bit more of what this looks like. It's not, we work hard. It's like, okay, let's be more specific with that and give an explanation for, like, what that looks like. And I'm a very talkative person, so it's usually like, hey, here's the book, here's what this means, then add more context to it. But for me, it's a big thing of, like, I want to have several phrases or several terms that I'm consistently referring back to with the team, because I want someone new to come in and tell them, hey, like, this is the third to fifth person that, hey, here's what we're about, here's what it looks like. And then when employee number 2 refers to it, or employee number 4 refers to it, employee number 5 starts going, so they're kind of serious about this thing. It's like, yeah, because it's hard to get the message across a lot of times. So for me, it's repetition. It's set the table from day one. Here's the couple phrases, couple terms, setting the standard for, if you're going to be an employee here, here's what it looks like. Being very clear with, like, just before you hire them, like, this is what we're about, this is what we do, and then just reinforce that and hammer it home.
Do you think that the culture you're aiming towards is something that a lot of people will want, or do you think only a select few people are going to want to be at your company's culture?
For mine, it'd be select few.
Okay.
But like, I don't think that invalidates any of the stuff with the culture. It just,
not at all.
It's, yeah. So no, I've even had there's someone I've been in conversation with about what it would look like for them to come onto the team. And even having questions to say, hey, this is what I'm about. You know that very clearly. Is that what you want? Because I thought you'd verbalize that you didn't. And so being very, like, just very clear and having a conversation, and it helps set the table. And it makes it very easy that down the line, if there's any issues, then you should refer back to that conversation that I didn't hide anything from you. I didn't lie to you. This is what it was.
Yeah.
You agreed to it. So
I think, and I completely agree with what you were saying in terms of, you know, having a culture for a specific few does not necessarily mean it invalidates any of the things. And in fact, I think you kind of need to do that if you want to have a specific culture, because the companies that are a little too eager to just have anybody with a pulse in, those are the ones that I normally notice that don't really have a culture, because they're trying to bend over backwards to accommodate every single situation, and it's just not realistic that any human can accommodate everything, right? Like there's normally just we find ourselves in tribes and groups and stuff like that, and I think with companies it's the similar thing in terms of you find your tribe or your group of people who want to work the same way you want to, or put in the same amount of effort and achieve certain things. You know, I've been in both, you know, private and in government jobs. And in the government jobs, the culture there is that everyone wants to take it easy, not have anything at risk, and then just retire and be comfortable. And that's a culture of comfort. Versus when I jumped into private afterwards, it was everyone was like, "Hey, we're all high performing assholes here. We might yell at you, but we're going to pay you a crap ton because we expect you to do really good work." So I think all of those cultures have, you know, you attract more of what you exude yourself. So I agree with all the stuff that you brought in. I thought that was a really good point.
Mason, you got anything?
No, I liked everything. I mean, everything you said, like I haven't thought that far ahead in my business yet. So everything that you were saying, I think is how I would do it. And then I think this is how most well-run businesses do it. Obviously, because you probably got a lot of your information from a lot of your mentor guys and stuff, and they have phenomenal businesses. So if anybody is listening, listen.
I don't want to be prideful, but I think that was mostly mine.
Ooh. Suck it, other guys.
Culture's been something I've been thinking about for, like, I don't know. It's group dynamics is something I've been paying attention to for probably like the last 10 years. And it starts even just in small friend groups, and then obviously it translates into the workplace. So for me, like, culture is something I just like to pay attention to and get interested by. So that's why. It's not like, oh, big brain over here, but
yeah, no,
right.
It makes sense.
Boy, where can they find you?
At Oxendale, azpropertypro.com.
Nice. You can find me at control-analytics.com.
Are we not on social media anymore? I know there was like a TikTok ban for 2 seconds, but
you can find my social media on my website, so just go there.
Nice.
They're not going to go to your website. It's at Mason Oxendale on Instagram. You're welcome. At Cyto_building on Instagram, and then at Cyto-building is Cyto-building.com is the website. There we go.
There you go. Nice. Sweet. Oh, so until next time. Sorry.
I hope you're accurate.
Your Wi-Fi fast.
And your work blast.
See everybody.
That was weak.
It's okay. It's better than getting cut out.
That was actually perfect because we could actually hear it this time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, geez. All right, quit the recording. Cut it.